The Klein Karoo Nasionale Kunstefees turns Oudtshoorn into something vibrant each April. Art spills from gallery doors, buskers claim corners outside sandstone churches, and the scent of boerewors mingles with stage makeup and brandy from outdoor wine stalls. For 1 week, this ostrich capital transforms from a dusty Karoo town to a cultural carnival. Three languages dance in single breaths: Afrikaans, English, and isiXhosa. And everyone seems to be smiling, laughing, performing. But in 2001, violence shattered the festival atmosphere. And decades later, in 2024, a quiet township street would witness an unthinkable betrayal that wouldn't reach its legal conclusion until 2025. This is Brick and Blood, South African Town Tales. Emergency services received the call at 11:47 p.m. on Thursday, April 12, 2001. The location, Baron van Rede Street, Central Oudtshoorn, in the heart of the bustling KKNK Festival Zone. A man was down, blood pooling on the tarmac. Koot Klopper, a 57-year-old farmer from the Free State, had come to the Klein Karoo Festival with his wife to experience the region's celebrated culture. They'd spent the evening at a performance, they enjoyed dinner, and were walking back to their accommodation when their lives changed forever. Witnesses described the attack as sudden and unprovoked. No argument preceded it, no shoving match escalated. A young man simply stepped from the festival crowd and delivered a single devastating punch to Klopper's face. The farmer went down hard, his head striking the tarred street with a sickening crack that witnesses would never forget. His wife's screams cut through the festival music. People rushed to help, but the attacker had already melted back into the crowd of revelers. Paramedics arrived within minutes. Initial assessments suggested a possible seizure or medical episode, but the blood told a different story. The impact had been so severe that Klopper was unconscious before they loaded him into the ambulance. He never regained consciousness. Koot Klopper died in hospital later that night from massive head trauma. The investigation moved quickly. Within 24 hours, police arrested a 25-year-old man from Heideveld. He worked as a security guard but was off duty, attending the festival as a private citizen. Investigators found no prior connection between him and Klopper. The motive remained murky. Some speculated it was mistaken identity. Others believed it was a random act of violence committed simply because the opportunity presented itself in a crowded, chaotic environment. What was clear was the devastating impact on the festival community. The KKNK organizers called emergency meetings even before the sun rose. Police cordoned off sections of the street. The celebration that had defined Oudtshoorn's cultural identity was suddenly a crime scene. The arrest brought little comfort to a shaken community. How do you process such randomness, such sudden, senseless violence in a space dedicated to art and joy. Security was immediately increased across all festival venues. Police presence doubled. Some events moved indoors or were cancelled entirely. Tourists began leaving early. For the first time in its history, the KKNK had to confront the reality that public celebration doesn't guarantee public safety. The accused faced court under tight security. The case shocked not just Oudtshoorn, but the entire nation, not because of its brutality, but because of its context. A murder in the middle of South Africa's premier Afrikaans arts festival challenged assumptions about safe spaces and community events. The legal proceedings were relatively straightforward. No dramatic courtroom revelations, no sensational media coverage, just a young man who had destroyed two families with a single punch, his own and his victims. The call came in on Sunday morning, August the 11th, 2024. A child was dead on Korhaan Avenue in Bridgeton, one of Oudtshoorn's quieter residential areas. What police discovered would shock even seasoned investigators. 7-year-old Oudtshoorn Jonkerman found lifeless in his family home. No signs of forced entry, no evidence of external perpetrators. The child's mother, 39-year-old Drezene Jonkerman, was present and cooperating with the police. This was Jonkerman's birthday. What should have been a day of celebration became the day she committed the unthinkable. The investigation revealed a horrifying sequence of events. According to court records filed nearly a year later, Jonkerman had spent the morning using drugs with a friend before preparing for church. When her friend left, she began washing her son Oudtshoorn, preparing him for the day. But something snapped. In her own testimony to the Oudtshoorn Regional Court, Jonkerman would later admit that while washing the boy, she began thinking about his father, her ex-partner with whom she had what she described as a tumultuous relationship. In her drug-impaired state, she claimed she saw the father's face in her child. What happened next defied comprehension. Jonkerman strangled her own son until his body went limp. She carried him to the bedroom, left him there, and went to church. She attended the full service, maintaining a facade of normalcy, while her child lay dead at home. Only after returning from church did she call neighbors and emergency services. Oudtshoorn was pronounced dead at the scene. The case sent shockwaves through Bridgeton's tight-knit community. Neighbors struggled to comprehend how a mother could kill her child, then sit through hymns and prayers knowing what she had done. The investigation moved systematically through the evidence. Jonkerman's drug use became central to understanding the crime, though it would never excuse it. She had reportedly been struggling with escalating addiction, even selling household items and groceries to fund her habit. Community members expressed collective trauma. Everyone knew both victim and perpetrator. Oudtshoorn was described by teachers as gentle and shy, with a love for drawing houses, Simple structures with triangular roofs and smoking chimneys, always colored in bright crayons. The investigation revealed a week before the murder, Jonkerman had told her pastor, who was also her employer, that she couldn't attend church because drug dealers had assaulted her over unpaid debts. The warning signs were there, but no one anticipated they would lead to infanticide. Legal proceedings concluded on June 26, 2025, nearly 11 months after Ashwin's death. Jonkerman entered a plea and sentencing agreement, admitting she had foreseen that strangling could cause death, but proceeded anyway with the intention to kill. In her mitigation, she claimed years of abuse and sexual violence from Ashwin's father, though the prosecutor presented evidence contradicting these claims. The child's father denied the allegations, and no formal complaints have ever been filed. The court sentenced Jonkerman to 25 years imprisonment with 5 years suspended, meaning an effective 20-year sentence. She must serve at least 2/3 before being eligible for parole, and has been declared unfit to work with children upon release. Unlike high-profile murder cases, this one generated limited ongoing media attention. Just a community quietly grappling with incomprehensible loss and justice system processing an unthinkable betrayal of maternal duty. These two investigations expose how physical spaces shape criminal opportunity and community vulnerability. The built environment doesn't just house our activities, it actively influences how violence unfolds and whether communities can respond effectively. Baron van Rede Street during KKNK exemplified public celebration architecture, open access, crowd flow optimization, minimal security barriers. These design features that make festivals successful also created perfect conditions for anonymous violence. Multiple escape routes through interconnected alleys, crowd density providing instant camouflage, no checkpoints where perpetrators might be trapped, urban planning that celebrates community gathering fail to protect individuals within that community. Korhaan Avenue represented township residential architecture, modest homes with high boundary walls, limited windows facing streets, houses positioned for family privacy rather than neighborhood oversight. These design choices that protect domestic life also concealed domestic violence. Drezene Jonkerman killed Ashwin because residential architecture eliminated natural surveillance. The community oversight that might have recognized escalating crisis and where they could have intervened before tragedy struck, but the township planning that preserves the family dignity inadvertently enabled a child's murder. Both crimes succeeded because architectural environments provided tactical advantages to perpetrators. Festival streets offered anonymity and escape routes. Private homes offered isolation and concealment. Physical spaces designed for positive human activities became operational theaters for violence. The built environment shapes human behavior more than we want to acknowledge. Streets, homes, and public spaces either enable or constrain criminal opportunity, Understanding this relationship is essential for preventing future tragedies. Koot Klopper and 7-year-old Oudtshoorn Jonkerman died because architectural choices had unintended consequences. Their deaths matter because they reveal how physical environments can fail the people who inhabit them. Klopper came to Oudtshoorn seeking cultural celebration in spaces designed to welcome strangers. But festival architecture that embraces openness also embraces risk. His death forced KKNK organizers to reimagine public safety without destroying public access, a balance that cultural events worldwide still struggle to achieve. Oudtshoorn lived in housing designed to give families privacy and dignity, but residential architecture that shields domestic life also shields domestic violence. His death exposed how township planning can isolate vulnerable family members from community protection networks that might save their lives. These victims represent thousands of South Africans whose safety depends on architectural choices made decades ago. Festival goers who deserve celebration without violence. Children who need family privacy that doesn't become family isolation. Learning from these deaths means building environments that protect rather than expose. Festival spaces with security integration that preserves cultural authenticity. Residential areas with community oversight that respects family autonomy. Public and private architecture that serves human flourishing rather than enabling human destruction. Two crimes, decades apart, both shattering assumptions about safety and trust in Oudtshoorn. One random act of violence in a public celebration. One unthinkable betrayal in a private home. Both investigations revealing how quickly lives can be destroyed and communities forever changed. The legal system has spoken in both cases, but the questions they raise about community safety, family protection, and architectural responsibility remain as relevant today as they were when these tragedies first shocked Oudtshoorn. If this story moved you or made you think, please follow Brick and Blood on your favorite podcast app. Please subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Give it a like, share it with your friends. Your support helps keep these important stories alive. Until then, walk softly, listen deeply, and remember, every wall has a story.